Hi, my name is Jessica Couch. I am a fashion and technology expert, and I go to conferences and do research so that you don't have to. And if you haven't done so already, we just released our 2026 Conference and Trade Show free resource where you can have a list of everything that's coming up. So far, we've had over 1,000 downloads, so thank you to everyone who's downloaded. Thank you to All Things Fashion Tech for promoting it, and thank you to everybody who wants to know more about fashion and technology, because that's excellent. On our list, there's a lot of people that are just curious about fashion tech. There's a lot of technology companies that want to meet their customers. And then there's a lot of brands and retailers who absolutely want to implement the best technology and need to know how. Today, I'm going to give you 8 things to think about before considering downloading a fashion tech tool. Now, this will all be found in my fashion tech framework, which is available on my website. If you want to take a deep dive, the framework is there. It comes with a PDF and a Notion workbook so that you can take it back with your team, work through every point of it, and come up with a solution at the end of it to push forward. So before anybody chooses the technology, the first thing you have to do is take a really good inventory about what type of business you're running, what's your capabilities, and what your team can actually handle. Of course, implementing technological tools makes everything easier, but the wrong tool can actually disrupt the flow of your business and cost you money. The first thing I advise is an ecosystem mapping. That means you need to know exactly every workflow in your business. And if you haven't taken time to figure out what everyone's doing in your business, perhaps your business is too big and you need to do this first. You may be surprised that what a lot of people think is the need for technology is actually just the need for shared data across siloed departments. And if that's the case, that could save you a ton of money by just having that. The second thing you need to do is have an honest conversation with yourself around brand identity and the customer experience. You see, what you think your brand stands for is what you're putting out. And you've taken a lot of time to develop your logo, your theme, your mission statements, your marketing, and all of these wonderful things. But if you're not converting the way that you feel like, or if you're not building community, there could be a bigger problem. The best way to figure out what that problem is simply asking your customers. Now, a lot of people, when I say this, they're like, what do you mean? We don't really have time to talk to our customers. But if you're not talking to your customers, someone else will be talking to them and convincing them to buy with them. And talking to your customers isn't hard. I'm not asking you to pick up the phone and cold call, but I am asking you to periodically collect the right information so you know where your brand is actually heading versus where you think it's going. The next step is you have to know your people. I conducted a survey at PI Apparel a few times about why technology in larger companies was not being implemented. And these are companies you are familiar with, but I won't name them for anonymity purposes. But a lot of the response was simply some of the employees were quite intimidated with the technological approach. They didn't want to spend time learning things on the weekend. They didn't really have the aptitude to understand the technology, and they weren't willing to do so. You have to know exactly the type of people that you're working with so that whatever technological solution you're choosing, not only is it the right one, but it can be one that everyone loves and not feel intimidated by. This is super important because tech can make people feel nervous and anxious, but it doesn't have to. Tech is simply here to solve problems and to help make your jobs easier, not to take your jobs and not to intimidate you. Next, you need to know your budget and your risk profile. First of all, depending on how much money you have to spend will totally change what type of technology you can get. And you also need to understand how much risk are you willing to take on. Now, if you have shareholders or if you have a board or if you have people that have high expectations, your risk tolerance could be a lot lower than if you're first starting out and you're a smaller team. That's something you'll have to assess for yourself. You absolutely have to know your constraints, which is going to be important. So if you're limited on money, if you're limited on personnel, if you don't have a ton of time to spend making new creative ads or anything like that, you need to identify it. While it won't necessarily be a problem, it can help you direct where should we spend our money and resources first. Maybe you do need to generate more designs faster because you only have one designer and that person may be overworked, but you're not willing to pay for additional personnel. This may be a great time to use a tool that can help you generate new designs from the old ones that worked really well last season. You may need to use technology that helps you to better understand the trend so that you can be ahead of the game. You may need an integrated PLM system. You got to know your constraints and know your business well enough so that while you're even considering what type of technology to get, you have an idea of what problem you need to solve internally. The next thing you want to do is find the friction. You absolutely don't want to find friction after you've paid for an expensive tool. You need to know exactly what are the pain points for the people that are working for you. What are your pain points? Is it production? Is it sales? Is it design? Is it in your fitting room? What is actually causing you friction? Because where there is friction, there's an opportunity to improve. And that's one of the best places to place technology. Not on the fun stuff. I'm talking the non-sexy. Friction is where you want to think about first. Next, you want to analyze things, and you want to do so in a way where you're not confusing causation with correlation. That means you're not looking at the data and making assumptions about what the cause is and what it is related to. You absolutely want to know. Now, this could mean going back to those customer discussions that we mentioned previously. By talking to your customer and then looking at your data and then understanding your friction, you have a better viewpoint than if you're just trying to look at data alone and make assumptions based on what other companies are doing. Companies get things wrong all the time, and you don't have time to do the same things when you have access to good data. Lastly, as we mentioned, this may sound a little redundant, but once you've done all that, you'll be able to identify gaps and you'll be able to see cohesively exactly where you should implement a technological tool. Now, this 8-step framework is explained in better detail on my website at luxorandfinch.com, where you can go and download it. You can spend time with your teams. It has instructions, it has brainstorms, it has tools and documents that you can use to kind of get from point A to point B and spend way more time deep diving in your business. It's very important that you have a customized approach to integrating technology for your business, because every business is different and you absolutely can't just go along with what you've heard or even what you've seen done, because you don't know what's going on in the inside of people's businesses. I would advise you to use this framework so you have a better idea of what you need for your business and how it will affect your customers. At the end of the day, the purpose is to make sales, to lower returns, to lower your dead inventory, to become more efficient, and to do this succinctly. So the framework is designed to help you do that. So make sure, again, you check out our framework on luxorandfinch.com and get help for your business in deciding which technology to go with first. Also, if you have the opportunity to go to one of the fashion tech conferences, make sure you do so and let us know which one you went to and if you have questions. Thanks so much and stay tuned.